Alright, hey everybody again, Big Pete here at 850 Armor Works. Today we're going to be doing some more assembly on the kids' Deathtrooper. If you didn't see the previous video, I did do a bunch of explanatory things on kind of methods you use and tools you may need, so you can go ahead and check that out. I'm going to put a link right up there to that previous video. But in this video we're going to be doing legs. So we have obviously two shells that are going to go together, both for the left and for the right, and you're going to end up with something like this. This is the adult one, just again for scale. We're looking at about like that. So obviously a lot smaller. It's for kids, but this is what we're going to end up having. So a couple tools that I wanted to show you, since I went over scoring and snapping just a little bit in the last video. This is where I really like that method, and I'm going to just do a quick tutorial on that while I'm doing this. If you want a straight line, this is like one of the best methods for doing it. I just cut this one. It's super straight, and the way that I did that is you get yourself a flat edge. You can get a smaller one, obviously, a little 1 foot one, whatever. This is just what I had here in the shop. And some clamps. You want some fairly heavy duty clamps, none of the little light ones, because you really want to clamp down on it. But I'll show you kind of what I did. I'm gonna have to remove this edge right here, just so I can get my clamps in, and I'm just gonna do that just with some tin snips, but you could do this whatever way you want. I just want this out of the way. I missed. Alright, so now we're just left, and it's nice and kind of flat, but obviously we want rid of all this, but we want a nice edge on our calf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my straight edge, and I'm just going to line it up right on the outside edge right here. Now, since I still have a lip over here, it allows something for it to slide down onto if you can't get it quite right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to... This may take a second, a little bit of playing with to get it perfect, but you want it right on the outside. So I just dropped one clamp on it, and then I'm going to do the same thing at the top, trying to pretty much evenly make sure it's even here and down here, so we get a nice straight looking line. We don't want anything that's cockeyed or crooked. Alright, now that I got these two, now I'm just going to clamp it with all the rest of my clamps. You want it really nice and secure because you're going to be running a blade over it, and you don't want it slipping at all, and you really want to fill any of the gaps that you have between the straight edge and the armor itself, because the armor with the clamps will bend up towards the straight edge, allowing you not to have any weird lines. So that's what I got. I got about 5 clamps. You could stick more, you could use less. I mean, it's preference. And again, I'm just going to make sure that that's about straight. All right, now that everything is clamped, I'm going to go ahead and get a nice and sharp X-Acto. This is a brand new one. Because the sharper it is, the less pressure you have to exert on it, and the less chances you're going to sway and make some weird points in it. So all I'm going to do is, I'm not going to worry about all the excess I have here on the bottom. I'm just going to start straight from where I kind of need the armor. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to be cutting kind of almost towards the straight edge so that I don't come out into the armor that I need to look nice. So this is it. And you can take it nice and slow. You don't need to use too much pressure as long as you got a fresh blade. And I'm going to go all the way to the end. And that's it. Take off my clamps. Catch the straight edge. Alright. Now I've got a line. You can kind of see it in the video here. Obviously it doesn't go down into here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my snips or scissors or whatever, and I'm just going to cut right up to that line. You can't really do a scoring and snapping method around corners. That's what I said. So like I went right up to here. Let's see if I can get it in the video. I went right up to where it starts, where it stops bowing. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Just a quick little snip. All right, now this is so easy. You just bend, Now bend the other way. Nope, spoke too soon, right? And it got caught on something. Done. That was super quick. Took me just a couple minutes to do that one. I'm gonna go ahead and do it on the rest of everything. So on the front, these are the front parts, and they're just gonna clamshell together just like that. And that's it. And then on the back, obviously this is the left leg, both halves of the left leg. On this one, we don't have the cover strip return edge over here, so we're going to cut this down. This is where we can kind of, if we need to make it a little bigger, we'll cut less off of right here. So if your child has larger calves or whatever, you can extend it a little bit in here. Or if they have smaller, you can take a little bit more off of here. On the other one, obviously we have our little return edge here, so you don't necessarily want to cut much off that. If you have to, you have to. It's kids armor, nobody's going to be paying that close of attention, but for accuracy's sake, we're going to leave all of that on, and I'm just going to cut right up to it. Same method with the scoring and snapping, because it's really quick and it gives you perfectly straight lines. So yep, I'll pick back up in a minute. All right, so I got this one all trimmed up, got the back looking real nice. It's all straight. I cut off pretty much all the return edges off of this one. I wanted to just show you another quick score and snap method for taking off an entire return edge if you want. Like the bottom portion does not need a return edge at all. The top portion I left a little bit on, but I trimmed off almost all of it because that's going to be a point where it's going to be pushing up against your kid's skin, and that return edge can cause some just wear when they're walking and stuff. So keep them small up there, but I mean it's personal preference. So now we have basically this part's cut, but we have to get all the return edging and stuff off of the tops and the bottoms. Really easy to do it, especially off the bottom. All I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this inside edge right in here, and I'm just going to trace that line that's in there, and then I'm going to score and snap it off. It's really quick, really easy. I'll show you in just a second. And all I'm doing is I'm just following that natural line that's made from when we pull the armor. Take your time again. You're working with a razor blade. Don't cut yourself, please. Alright, now that I got it scored, I'm just going to do a little bit of a snip right here because I didn't cut it all the way over here. Alright, now like I said, you can't do it on angles. You can't just bend this right off. Just make a couple relief. Just make a couple little bits of relief right around the circular part of it. So I just did a couple cuts right up to where the line is, and all now I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it one way, bend it the other, and then just snap right off. Easy. That return edge is 100% gone, and it took me a minute. So I'm going to do the same sort of thing on the top, but since I want to leave a little bit of a return edge, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to score on the outside. So you can see there is a line right here as well. Now if I go along that line, I can do the same method, scoring and snapping it right off, but it'll leave me the return edge I want. If you're gonna do it this way, be careful, because since you're working on the good side of the armor, any mistakes will show on your finished product. So if your lines get a little wavy or something, they're gonna show. Alright, now I got to the edge of here, and all I'm going to do on this portion on the back is I'm just going to kind of round that out. I'm going to go in kind of a half crescent to the back and then straight across. And that's just because you don't like right angles all the time anyways. So, alright, so I got all that. I'm going to cut my couple reliefs in the corner bits because it will not score and snap right if you don't. So easy. Done. Now if you want to go back, if that line wasn't quite right or a little wavy, you can go back and whittle it a little bit, sand it a little bit with your Dremel, whatever. But that is the other half. So all these are going to do is these are going to clamshell together, and you've got a leg. It's perfect. All right, now the next part that's going to happen in this is, if you look on our adults, and it's in the CRL, there is a flap right here. This guy. This is a separate piece. You may get your kits and you're like, what are these pieces? Because we always get those questions. That's this guy. It's a double guy. It's they're printed together. You'll get it just like this. This hasn't been trimmed at all. And we just can't form these on the vacuum forming machine in one piece on the leg. So this is what you get, and it attaches really seamlessly. All you're going to do is it's going to attach onto the part of the leg that doesn't have this pattern. Not this one. You're going to put it on the other side of the leg with this pattern on it. And all it does is, you can see it right here, it just slides right on. Obviously this one won't fit because then the angle goes upwards. So I'm going to cut this one out and show you how it goes together. Alright, so I got this all trimmed out. You pretty much remove all the return edging on this, because since this is going to be around the ankle and stuff, you don't want any of that. It's never going to show, for one, and it's just silly. It's going to rub wrong and it's going to hurt. So remove any weird burrs and everything pretty much off this entire thing. And all we're going to do is, this thing slides in like a gem, like that. Bam. You can feel it almost click into place, and we're just going to glue it here. And that's what it's going to look like when it's done. So I'll just glue that real quick in front of you guys. A little bit of glue on a couple places and a little bit of setting, and we're good to go. And that's it. That's together. Alright, now that we got all of our sides cut out on everything on the leg, we're going to go ahead and attach them together. All we're going to do is one side over the other. As you can see on the adult one, again, this is the left leg on the adult. We got our little back strip here. These parts just get some double stick side Velcro. They go together. This guy's gonna glue on top of this guy, and you're good. They go together just super easy. Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, so I'm gonna glue these together, get to work on the other one, and I will show you when I'm done. Alright, so I got this one all assembled, and I got the rest of them all cut out and trimmed and ready for assembly. As you can see, this little piece comes off of it, and it all just little bead of glue down the center, works just perfect. And this is how it's going to look when it's complete. Again, we're going to put a little bit of Velcro on the calves here so they can easily come apart and stuff, but that's how they go together, and that is that's that minus the greeblies on this one. This the left side's going to get some greeblies I'll go over in a minute. So now I got the right leg all trimmed out, all ready to go. I just have to put on a couple pieces, and again, I'll just do this on camera real quick, just so you guys can see how easy this is. This is not rocket science. We're just plastic spacemen, just building plastic spacesuits for our kids. Hold it for a couple seconds. Good to go. That's that part. Next part is going to be this guy, and this one's just going to go right over the other one, just like that. So I'm just going to put a Make sure it lines up right. Looks pretty good. Actually, it looks really good. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a bead of glue right down on here. And I'm gonna keep it over towards the outside edge a little more, because I don't want any of this glue to come out on my finished part. So if you put it all over, or if you squish it down, it can bleed through to the finished side of your armor, and you don't want that showing. So, nope, glued my fingers together apparently. I mean, even without that quick set stuff, this stuff sets so freaking fast. But for good measure, we're going to give it a couple sprays. That's it. It's done. Opens up nice. Good to go. Alright, so last little bit on the leg. This is going to be on your left leg. It's the one that does not have that section on it. This is your right leg. This is your left leg. Your left leg's going to get your greeblies. These are the greeblies you're going to get. Well, they may be a little bit different. I'm not sure if we're going to vac form them, or if we're going to resin them, or 3D print them, or whatever. These ones are 3D printed. Use whatever you want. They're just some little blocks, and I'm going to glue them on. The short end goes towards the back part, and the fatter end goes up towards the top. We're going to kind of just line these up between this line and this line, just like kind of halfway in between, maybe about an inch down or so. Just like that. And then we're just going to basically make it look the exact same way on the other side. So all I'll do is prop this up so that I can work on it right. Okay. A little bit of glue towards the center. I don't want it too far on the outside because I don't want it to bleed over onto the armor. There we go. There's one. And wherever I put the other one, we're just going to do the same thing on this side. Just make it look even. There we go. That's it. So these legs are done. The only thing I'll have to do is just put some Velcro on the back parts. I shouldn't need to video that. But this part will go over this part. Just put a little piece of Velcro, or a big strip of Velcro on the back here and on the back side of here, and they'll just go together. And that's it. Trim to necessity. If these end up being a little bit too big for your child because they have small calves, you can just put a little block of foam up here in the top and down here in the bottom just to pad it out a little more. We'll see how everything fits though once we get our test fitter. So, all right, and on to the next piece. All right, thanks for joining me again, guys, on this quick leg tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. If you did and want to learn more, go ahead and you can subscribe to my channel or follow us to our next video. Our next video is going to be on the biceps and the shoulders. Wherever I put the shoulder, there it is. And shoulders. This is the adult, just to show you guys. You can do a two-tone. We'll go over that later. But we're gonna do shoulders and biceps. Really easy video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, or if you care to. Again, I don't really care. I don't make any money off this. I do this for you guys. So stay tuned.